Hello, good whatever time it happens to be when you're watching this, and welcome back to Newcastle, where things are a good time indeed. There's 2 more games before the Qatar World Cup interrupts things, and we're in a very good position here. And that is thanks to 3 more wins and a draw in the next 5 games since we last met. Yes, so after beating Brentford 2-1, we beat Bournemouth 3-1, Brighton 2-0, Sheffield United 1-0, and drew 1-1 away at Chelsea, who are struggling a little bit. They've sacked their manager. But a 1-1 away at Stamford Bridge is a nice point regardless. But we've got Leeds away today, a match that actually I would like to go to because Leeds is technically my home match. And then Southampton, who beat us 6-2 last year, and I don't think we got our revenge. A few minor notes about the goals in these games. You can see there's a few defender goals in there. Sule, Mings, that continues to be a thing. I have no shame in continuing with what appears to be a very good, possibly exploitative set-piece tactic, because they're still scoring stupid goals. We've not had any far post headers conceded in this lot, but there's been 2 wonder goals, which I can't really begrudge too much. That's West Ham's and Chelsea's. Bournemouth's goal is a return of the near post pass free kick situation we had in last year's game, which was a massive, massive problem. I've seen the AI use that tactic in more than just that Bournemouth game recently as well. That's the only one we've conceded from. So whilst the AI have got some things that are massively problematic and unable to defend against, I am happy to have my own. All that means is we are third, 3 points behind league leaders Arsenal. Yeah, that's right, Arsenal. We have the same win record as Liverpool though, which is a nice thing to have at this stage of the season. That Chelsea draw was our first draw of the season, 14 games in. Bournemouth and Sheffield United still without a win. You thought Norwich had it bad. Speaking of which, they're in action against Chelsea as we take on Leeds. I thought we were at game time, apparently we weren't. We do have a minor injury situation in the sense that Willock and Alvarado are out. Alvarado was wiped out by a Chelsea player in the last game in injury time for no reason. Joe Willock took an injury a few weeks back as well and is not quite back yet. Barco and Wilson don't really feature, so that's not too problematic. And Barbu just coming back from an injury as well. What that means is, with the instruction to rest Benacer, who's getting a little bit jaded apparently, he's going to be on the bench because of those situations with the personnel. Castell, Digne, Mings, Sule, Hattabor will line up at the back, Nianzou in front of them with Cook and Gagliardini as the next best Mazzala. Saint-Maximin and Adeyemi, who did have 2 goals in the game immediately following Brentford as well. He scored twice against Bournemouth and then hasn't really done anything since. And Calvert-Lewin remains up front and goalless. Definitely isn't having the same 40-goal season as he had for Sheffield United last year. I would drop him. The only issue is Sesko is also on exactly the same last 5 average games rating effectively, so whilst Sesko does have 7 goals to his name, his recent form is about the same. Also, slightly speaking of Norwich, Leeds United have appeared to have acquired Matthias Norman at some point, who I thought was a loan to buy for Norwich, so that's confusing that he happens to be here now. Apparently, Leeds are bottom of the form table, so this means they're probably going to win. We are playing in grey. They are playing in white, of course, their natural home white. Cook has found himself on this left-hand side. Dinks it to Gagliardini. He's in a spot on the edge of the box. Went for it. Wasn't far away, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't have been a highlight. Rafinha. That's got to the near post. Oh, apparently there's been a push at a corner. If you gave penalties for pushes at corners, you'd give a penalty, like 4 penalties a match. Glitch. Yeah, good penalty. I mean, obviously, because of the graphical fidelity of Football Manager, we can't see the push as nicely as we would like, really. Any jostling in the box in Football Manager looks like a push, so we have no idea how blatant it was. There's no point looking back at it. Rafinha on a free kick. This worries me. There's 5 men in the wall. One of them appears to be about a foot taller than the others. That nearly went in. One thing I do notice is the AI seems to be way more potent at free kicks than we are. Doesn't matter who's on it. I mean, they probably got good free kick taking. Another penalty? No, good, right. Nianzou. It'd be nice if Calvert-Lewin ran forward there rather than just sort of hovering. There was a good chance for him to get in, but Calvert-Lewin possibly with an assist. No, goes all the way back to Digne. His former Everton teammate, Cook, to Gagliardini now. Had to ball, just passing it around. Gagliardini, there's options on the right. Not been taken. Gone for the one on the left instead, and it's Alan Saint-Maximin for his 2nd goal of the season. Not been prolific, but Mane looks frustrated at letting one in the near post. Oh, bless him. I thought the option on the right-hand side there would have been the best one there, passing it to number 5, which would have been Hattabor, I suppose. But Saint-Maximin volley that. I think he might have, you know. That was an even more impressive goal than it looked first time. This highlight begins with a Meslier save, and the text saying it could have been a great goal, but we didn't see the shot, so never mind. Gagliardini puts it in, and Calvert-Lewin is there. He's not meant to be the receiver. I don't know what happened there. Right, so if we eliminate the penalty from the XG situation, there's another corner actually, and this time it's still Cavalier and he's gone for it again. I don't know why he's bypassing the defender at the near post now, but Cavalier's heading ability is quite good, so I don't mind him getting on the end of it. He's gone close twice, clearly. No, we'll send them back out again, and we've had 61% possession at Leeds. That is impressive, actually. Norman to Klitsch to Rafinha. Leeds moving this ball around relatively nicely. Cooper, although he has to go all the way back to Meslier, who for some reason volleys it to Vandenberg, and he finds the ball through to Klitsch. And actually, I haven't seen an update for Football Manager. I know the full game release, but I didn't see if an update came along with it. I've not really seen the through ball issue anywhere near as much in this season, really. Maybe it was the speed of the defenders, but although I don't think our defenders are that much faster than last year's. Oh look, Dean is on a 6.3. It's weird. They either have 6.3s or 7.5s. There's nothing in between for there's nothing in between for fullbacks, really. I don't want to take him off because he's the least tired, but Adeyemi can come off and Harvey Elliott can have some minutes. Oh, and someone's destroyed Sam Maximan. Foot injury. Oh dear. Well, Berger exists. Luke Ayling is absolutely knackered. If we could capitalise on that, that would be great. Oh, he's injured, that's why. A couple of their players in the middle are on yellow cards as well, so it'd be nice if we could have baited them. That was very well worked, and Rodrigo probably should have scored. We're seeing the resulting corner. I don't know how effective this is going to be. It's gone to the back post, so I am concerned. We get there first. And now I have to take Dini off because I'm going to get a question otherwise. Fullbacks also get booked every game, as I nearly try to bring on Dahoud with a misclick. Otavio, please. Lovely move from Newcastle United, it says as this highlight begins. And Thomas scores. They're appealing for offside. I don't think this probably is. Oh, it is. Okay. I'm very surprised that he managed to be offside from a free kick, but apparently there were, oh God, there was 3 of them offside. Why would you even line up like that? No wonder he got there first. A late push, 6 minutes of injury time. We've got a late corner. Gagliardini stands over it. Cook is there. Mings is there. Gone to the right person this time, but Mings still can't guide it. It'd be really nice if we could have capitalised on their really, really tired fullbacks. Alas, if you take the penalty out of the situation, we did create the better chances. For that was about 0.8 of an XG, I would say there. So without the penalty, you would probably argue about 1.1, 1.2 to 1.5 XG on the match as a whole. 1-1's probably the fair result. Hans Hatterbo has now been booked 8 times in seasons. Is there something that worries you? Yes, there's clearly something wrong with the engine. But this has always been the case. The fullbacks, as far as I can remember in every single Football Manager, the fullbacks always get booked. 4 to 5 weeks for Alan, as Leeds fall into the drop zone, but one more game until the Qatar World Cup, that 4 to 5 weeks isn't as bad as it sounds. As it stands, Alan will only really likely miss the return of Miguel Almiron, who scored recently for Southampton. I did spot that, but he should really be back for the Norwich game at the end of December. Now that's after not drawing in the first 13 games, we've drawn the next 2. Football Manager. As I just get a notice about homegrown players, I presume even with the Qatar World Cup, the youth intake preview will come through at the same point. Although, you can look at any time and apparently see that this is going to be absolutely woeful. But this might be a case of this building up over time. I have no idea how this works in this year's game. There appears to be really only be 5 players. Actually, you can see the total numbers. 2 goalkeepers, 1 left-back, 1 centre-back, 3 midfielders and 1 attacking midfielder right. There's probably a good chance the full-back is the centre-back as well. So yeah, you can look at any point, but I don't know if these numbers increase the closer you get to December. Might check that out, actually. I think Yuri Tielemans should be the top target with a recommendation of a C-. Don't get me wrong, he's a 4-star player. He's better than any midfielder we've got, but curiously it says C-, and that's our top target. He is very playmakery, but really slow for a 25-year-old. Well done, the hands out. Madness they let him go for the price tag that he did. I think there's a problem with the... I think this actually just a full-on problem with the skin. It wasn't the fact that that player was in the under-23s. I can't see guy value in anyone in my own team. I can obviously in the squad tab, but Cavalier's price tag is still insane. As is Joe Willock's, actually. Joe Willock's price tag is minimum 60 million. I do simultaneously love and hate the fact that Football Manager accurately simulates the English price tag, the English premium. It's great when you're trying to sell, it's annoying when you're trying to buy. 3 players are going to be at the World Cup, one of which really isn't my player anyway. Benacer and Castile's going, and the short-lived Alvaro Montero for Colombia. I got a notification that they weren't playing Montero. I don't really know why, considering it's a mandatory future fee. I don't know why I'm being told about loan time on players that are definitely leaving at the end of it. It's like, why would I care if they're not playing? They're leaving at the end of this loan anyway. Knew this was going to happen eventually. England have the youngest squad at the World Cup. Meanwhile, Florian Thauvin made the French team. By the way, Thauvin to Tigres. How insane is that transfer? I know he's got a friend there, effectively. But for a player entering his prime years, for him to go to Tigres from Ligue 1, I don't know how much Marseille were playing him. He's got 106 appearances in 4 years, so he's clearly not terrible. But that's a mad transfer. He's doing really well, actually. His price tag isn't bad. Excuse me while I just give him a full scout. Thank you. Let's bring him back to Newcastle again. Let's just complete the cycle. For a player that's 29, on a save like this, Dahoud and Lascelles is absolutely fine to be squad players now. The important player catastrophe that I was expecting has sort of mostly resolved itself at this point. Everyone's happy to be a squad player apart from Dan Axel Zagadou. I think it says a lot when you're surprised at how reasonable some players are. The one thing I will say about the results this season, apart from Game 1 against Wolves, which obviously was a massive win, even more so when you realise they're 6th now, for everyone else, 4-0, 4-1, 4-3, high-scoring games happen a lot for the AI matches. Not so much for myself, as every win pretty much is a narrow win, or narrow loss. Okay, so for Southampton, the back 6 remain the same. Gagliardini moves over to the central midfielder role, and Benacer takes over in the Mazzala. Actually, considering the players ahead of them, I can probably get away with doing this for one game only. Benacer being left-footed makes more sense to have him on the left-hand side for this game. Boga and Elliott ahead of them. Saint-Maximin's injury, of course, then Elliott, just because I've not really been impressed with Adeyemi in the past 5 games. Obviously, 2 games with 2 goals, and then nothing since. Calvert-Lewin will remain up front, although shall I give him the warning shot of Sesko before we go into this break? No. Every time I think about taking Calvert-Lewin out of the starting lineup, I pull Sesko onto him, see the comparison, see that Sesko's just negative on everything, and then leave him. See that Southampton are relying on Che Adams up front, along with a player called Sile Larin, who I don't recognise. Don't know if anything's happened to Adam Armstrong, or if he just simply isn't that well rated in FM and has been ignored. Would have been interesting to see the actually former Newcastle man. The Premier League now with a pair of former Newcastle strikers who have come back to haunt the Premier League against us, probably. Soule's put it into the back post, but there's been a push at some point somewhere. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Adam Armstrong via Blackburn has returned to the Premier League, and really expect him to score against Newcastle when they play Southampton. And I really expect Ivan Toney to punish Newcastle as well when Brentford play us. Oh, the strikers that could have been for Newcastle. Attabor, Elliott to Calvert-Lewin, back to Elliott. The worst part of letting Armstrong and Toney go for Newcastle is they were let go during a period where Newcastle didn't have good strikers. Like, I would understand them selling sort of third choice strikers if Callum Wilson had been there at the time. But while we were looking for a striking option, why didn't we just give Adam Armstrong a go? Ivan Toney I understand a little bit more because he was a little bit further down the pecking order. But Armstrong was just being loaned to the Championship year in, year out. A thrilling first half concludes. Stile's making nice interceptions apparently, and that's about it. Deeney's on a 6.5, point finger. I don't like what I saw from this team, and maybe point some faith onto that. Calvert-Lewin's on a 7.2 despite doing no assists and no goals. They've had 4 yellow cards. The entire back line is booked. This could get interesting. So it does look like we seem to be massively dominant in this game, so I might just turn up the mentality a notch. See if we can just sort of push a goal through. We do play slow, we do play low tempo, and we do play short passing, so maybe getting a little more aggressive with that passing, as Adams doesn't get through there. Benacer, marginally worried there. Boga, and he's probably going to be forced back here, although he can go up the line now. Digne made himself available, and it's making its way. Digne, I mean, it's just being passed around a little bit on this left-hand side for the time being. We might work our way in. We might work an opportunity out eventually, I'm not sure. Although Boga's going to get on the end of this, and if he crosses it across, Elliott's there at the back post, tap in. Back to positive. Said Elliott's second goal of the season, but it's his first for Newcastle and must have scored for Liverpool before we loaned him, which makes it even weirder, the fact that we were able to loan him. Like, Harvey Elliott is one of the most reasonable loans I've ever had in Football Manager in recent games. The demands on a lot of players are insane. Harvey Elliott, they just wanted 42 grand, his wages, as Jeremy Boga has now been eliminated from my team. Barco's on the bench, and I think I have officially run out of wingers at this point. Harvey Elliott and Barco were the last men standing in that regard. Oh, Adeyemi, he's just out of sync on the bench. I forgot he was there. It's been a good performance from Newcastle, all things considered. Even Deeney's on a 6.8. Okay, so tiny bit of tiredness factoring now, and Barbu can have a few minutes, and Sesko can have a few minutes as well. I don't want him to think I've forgotten about him. I'm not sure what this is. That was weird. Just like it feels like the game doesn't like being paused for too long. Digne, long throw. This is the first time I think you've actually seen this happen in live. Sule was there. Yeah, long throws are a thing that can happen again this year, but it's not all the time, which is great. The opportunity can be there fairly often, as that probably should have been a goal for them, a late equaliser. Despite the fact I presume long throws are happening game in, game out, I don't see highlights every game, and I don't see them go in every time either. I think they've got the balance on long throws just right. I mean, put it this way, halfway through the season, Sule has scored 2 of them, despite the fact that tactic has been on the entire season. But once again, 1-0, tight game. Everyone else is getting 4-0s, we're getting 1-0s. Why do you think your team has found life so hard in front of the goal recently? I don't know, you explain it to me, but 16 games played, other teams have got games in hand, but we do have 3 points on Man UFC, which is the most crucial thing, and 5 on 2 teams that are on 30 points, and a game in hand. Liverpool and Arsenal can obviously go back ahead of us. Okay, so Boga's out for... Technically, he could play through it, but we'll send him to a specialist, and he'll be back at the end of January. Oh no, it's the beginning of November. He might be back sort of middle of January, really. He won't actually miss too much. And Sule, fantastic, apparently. But as I said, when Sam Maximan got injured, we don't play Norwich until the end of December, so Boga probably will only miss like that stretch, and Sam Maximan will be back for Norwich. But I'll bring you back for the Merseyside pair at the end of January. Okay, so I clicked through the Sunday's games just to see where we were officially going into this Qatar World Cup break, and it is second. Arsenal drew the game they were playing on Sunday, and that point takes them ahead of us again. Leeds beat Chelsea, though. That's a big result from them. Some teams still have a game in hand, I think, thanks to Carabao Cup action, but at worst, a net third. It's not a bad place to be, roughly halfway through the season. So that in mind, I'll see you again at the end of the January transfer window. Any ideas, as ever, please comment down below. Also, what you think on this year's game so far. What kind of trends have you seen in Football Manager 2022 so far as well? I'd like to know. I'd like to see if there's anything I've been missing. I've picked up on a few trends. I probably missed a few as well. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time. Ta-ra.